some clarificatory questions, if any, from our colleagues that our colleagues may wish to propound to divide the House, to decide, first, if we will act here and now to relocate the upper house of the Congress of the Republic of the Philippines from its present self-degrading site, founded on a pathetic landlord-tenant relationship, to a more dignified, iconic edifice that we can truly call our own, and that this present 17th Congress can leave as a proud legacy to the future generations of legislators. And second, on the relocation site, either in the city of Antipolo or in Fort Bonifacio, Taguig City. I so move, Mr. President.
Mr. President, the motion of the sponsor is to decide. May we know what is the minority leader wishes to ask. May we recognize the minority leader? We both know what is the recommendation of the committee.
Minority leader is recognized.
Yes, Mr. President, will the gentleman yield the floor to a couple of questions?
Certainly and willingly to the distinguished minority leader.
Just, we're curious, Mr. President. The gentleman from Cavite went through a very detailed study and presented the motion today, but we still have to hear what is the recommendation of the committee insofar as first, there is no question. The first question is, should we relocate? I think there is no one, I assume that everybody is of the view that we should move. The second issue is, where do we move? And we are still awaiting the recommendation of the committee itself. But before that, maybe I'll ask a few questions in this regard. A consideration in the movement of the Senate would obviously be a convenient working relationship with the House. We know that today, with the distance between where we are and the Batasan, it is extremely difficult, particularly when we go to BICAM, to coordinate the versions of the Senate and the House because of the distance. And in the other aspect, the Commission on Appointment, the extreme difficulty in coordinating with the House contingent, again because of the distance. Was the question that I raised to the good gentleman from Cavite is, was Quezon City ever considered? Was a site in Quezon City where the Batasan is considered in the discussion?
Your committee did not consider anymore Quezon City as a possible relocation site simply because I was told by Congressman El Rey Villaferte that he was tasked by the Speaker of the House to likewise negotiate with the BCDA to relocate to Taguig. In fact, also in the same relocation site within the Navy Village. So it will be co-located site or relocation site of the Senate.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. That's a very sensible arrangement, setup that we move to the BGC because, in fact, the House is going to move there. Is planning to move there. So we go back to our original question. What is the recommendation of the committee? Is the committee inclined to support the proposition that it should be in BGC? Is it a response to our question about closer getting closer physically with the House? The gentleman said that the House has a plan to transfer to Bonifacio. If we transfer to Antipolo, then we're back in the same quandary. The House moves to Bonifacio, we move to Antipolo. We are in the same situation today insofar as the need for closer working proximity with the House is concerned. So does that swing the balance in favor of Bonifacio, Mr. President?
First, for the information of the distinguished minority leader, I purposely did not make a definite recommendation as to where to relocate. I have my own reasons. And that's why in my motion is limited to dividing the House in this regard. I leave it to the members of the 17th Congress, of the Senate of the 17th Congress, to decide as a collegial body where to relocate. Maybe I'm overestimating myself that I could exert influence of the members on the members.
Yes, you are underestimating yourself, Mr. President.
Anyway, my motion is limited to just
understand.
recommend
Yeah.
to just
Yeah,
decide
yes, okay.
here
But
and now
yes.
where to relocate.
The information that the House intends to move to Bonifacio, as the gentleman sponsor indicated, is an important consideration in our decision, because there is absolutely no sense in moving to Antipolo and the House moves to Baguio, I'm sorry, to Bonifacio, Bonifacio Global City. Baguio tuloy.
As a matter of fact, Mr. President, when we start operationalizing, assuming that we vote on this resolution now, today, they will copy whatever documents that we will be presenting to BCDA. That's the arrangement with the House of Representatives.
Okay, so we wish that we would be benefited by the recommendation of the committee, but the chair has already stated his preference, so we just have to vote on that.
I have my own preference, Mr. President, but I'll just participate in the voting.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. President, in that case, if there are no other members who wish to interpolate, let us call the previous question. I'm sorry, Senator Grace Poe wishes to...
Senator Paul is recognized.
I just couldn't resist because my seatmate is the one who really worked hard for this. And I want to acknowledge his hard work, number one, and his very detailed analysis of our options. But my question is this. Because it will, I mean, obviously, in Bonifacio, it would be more convenient for many of us who are here. There are two things to consider. Number one is the outward development that we are trying to push outside of the metropolitan areas. And number two, the already crowded financial district. And BGC already is an established area where businesses are, you don't even have to encourage businesses to set up there. It's enticing for them. So adding the Senate and Congress there, my question now would be, would there be a parallel plan, for example, with DOTR and DPWH, so that the roads there, accessibility, maybe a subway system, is really considered in that way with the thousands of employees that will be working there? It will not disrupt or add even more problems to our traffic situation, Mr. President. That's my question.
As a matter of fact, there is already a plan to extend all the way to Pasong Tamo extension. This is to ease traffic in the area of Taguig, in that particular area in Navy Village. To Pasong Tamo extension, the current 6-lane road, which McKinley is calling Grand Boulevard. If this plan will push through, there will be an additional exit from Fort Bonifacio towards Pasong Tamo that would serve as an alternative route to the always congested Lawton Drive. Tapos there's also a plan to acquire a right-of-way on the portion of the property in BGC owned by the Department of Education, may DepEd property ron eh, in order for the 6-lane road exit to be extended to South Luzon Expressway or SLEX. In addition, BCDA and DPWH have already started the widening of the Lawton Drive, adding 2 more lanes, thereby making it 6 lanes.
Okay, that's
In that
good.
way,
Yes.
Ayala and Unilab, I think. It's already underway. They're putting up an underground
Well, that's good news,
passageway.
Mr. President. I'm glad that the chairman of the committee has already taken this into consideration. Perhaps my manifestation would be, as we continue with the architectural design and the deliberations for the planning of these structures, maybe we can do it in coordination also with DPWH and all related agencies to ensure the proper traffic flow in the area. That's all,
I
Mr.
will
President.
relay your message to the DOTR, your favorite department, Your Honor.
And yours, and I'm sure many of us as well. Thank you, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Senator Paul. Majority Leader.
So, Mr. President,
Mr. President, just last manifestation.
Yes, Senator Subiri is recognized.
Yes, just food for thought for the body. That, and with the permission of course, the chairperson, the price given to us by BGC, by basis conversion, at 90,000 per square meter, in investment terms, is a wonderful investment for the Philippine Senate, because now the properties in BGC, Mr. President, reach up to ₱1,000,000 per square meter. So if we get it at 90,000 per square meter, that it's already times 10 in value actually. So my purpose for this food for thought is, it is going to be a great investment for Philippine government, for the Philippine Senate, to be able to get it at 90,000 per square meter, Mr. President. Now knowing that properties there are being sold at 1,000,000 per square. Thank you, Mr. President.
Additional information, originally they offered 1.2 hectares. Now they're offering 2 hectares to the Senate.
but then, Mr. President, the question that is begging to be answered is that, do we decide? So that is the motion of the gentleman, that we decide. So let us move first to approve the motion of Senator Lacson, that we decide to relocate.
Is there any objection? There being none, the motion is carried.
Thank you, Mr. President. With that, in its proper procedure, the next motion then is to decide where, as the committee has proposed, the Committee on Accounts sponsor has proposed 2 locations. The one location is in Antipolo and the second location is in the BGC. So I almost wanted to propose an area near Okada, Mr. President, but so siguro.
Yeah.
Instead of a member moving to approve a certain location, let us just perhaps before we continue, Senator, the President Pro Tem.
President Pro Tem is recognized.
Just, I heard earlier from the minority leader that if the House moves to BGC, all the more that the Senate should move to BGC. We might want to rethink that position, Mr. President. If the House intends to move to BGC, my position is that we move to Antipolo. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Gordon is recognized.
Mr. President, first of all, I'd like to congratulate the gentleman from Cavite for a very wonderful hard work, and I think it's important to note that practically all the dots have been done and all the T's have been crossed. So I recommend that we go to BGC, and I so move, Mr. President.
Okay. Nag-move na siya. May motion na siya.
Therefore, there is a motion, Mr. President, instead of the suggestion that we choose one and vote, there is a motion now that we move to BGC by Senator Gordon. So, we want to know if there is any objection to the motion, Mr. President.
Yes, Senator Tiberos is recognized.
I'm just want to place on record that as I did when we were in caucus, I voted for the alternative location, although we were then in the minority, which is Antipolo. I would say Baguio if Baguio were on the table, but it's not. No, seriously, Mr. President, I would vote for Antipolo.
Objection. Therefore, that can be considered as an objection, Mr. President, and therefore we should vote. So,
So is there, let's put it into voting.
yes.
Okay, so those in favor of
Say aye.
locating the Senate,
Motion of Senator Gordon.
The motion of Senator Gordon.
I'm sorry, please restate your motion, Senator Gordon.
Those in favor of the motion of Senator Gordon that the Senate relocate to the Bonifacio Global City.
Okay, is there any objection to the motion?
There was an objection, Mr. President, and therefore we must divide the House.
Okay, so those who are in favor of the motion of Senator Gordon, please raise your hands. I guess it's it's overwhelming. About those in favor of,
Those who are against.
those who are against the motion. Okay, there's two. So the motion of Senator Gordon is hereby carried.
As an addendum, Mr. President, are you giving the Committee on Accounts the mandate to pursue this initiative? Because in that case,
Yes,
you're
then,
giving the Committee on Accounts that responsibility.
There's no motion yet, Senator.
Mr. President, I move, with the permission of the majority floor leader, we'd like to move that the Committee on Accounts handle the smooth transfer of our facility here, GSIS, to the BGC.
Okay, there's a motion that the Committee on Accounts handle the...
be given an authority, Mr. President.
To give the authority to handle the rotation. Are there any objection? There being none, the motion is hereby carried.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to resume consideration of Senate Bill 1439 under Committee Report 60.
Consideration of Senate Bill number 1439 is hereby in order.
May we have a 1 minute suspension and ask the Sergeant at Arms to remove everyone who is noisy from the hall, Mr. President. 1 minute suspension.
1 minute suspension.